if I can prepare them in any way to be not just in a professional career field, but to be good community members in whatever community they're in. That's kind of where I'm trying to push them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inspiring Teachers, the Honored podcast, where we shine a spotlight on life-changing teachers across the country. I'm Hannah, your podcast host, and our podcast is brought to you by Honored, which is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers nationwide. Our mission is to inspire and retain great teachers, keeping them in the classroom as long as possible. Every month at Honored, we select an exceptional educator in the United States to be the recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. Each honoree, as we call them, gets a $5,000 cash reward, and we then tell the story on our website and our social media platforms of how that teacher has impacted their students' lives. To learn more about our organization, you can go to our website at honored.org. We are so excited to have you listening in on another Honoree podcast episode. To celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week in May, we are excited to have our first ever double honorees. This month, we are sharing the story of two incredible educators who have changed the lives of their students. Through our program, we are honored to give educators individualized recognition, which research shows keeps great teachers in the classroom longer. To help us celebrate teacher appreciation all year long, you can recognize a teacher and nominate them for our Honored National Teaching Award at honored.org/nominate. Today, we are joined by Misty Burgess, a business teacher at Greenbrier High School in Greenbrier, Arkansas. She was nominated for this award by her student Zandrea Story. To help share the impact of Mrs. Burgess's teaching, we are joined today by Zandrea and Zandrea's mom, Heather. Before we dive into Mrs. Burgess's story, we are excited to kick off our honoree episode with our special segment, Teachers Who Inspired, which is featured at the beginning of each episode. Here, we invite well-known individuals to share a story about a teacher who had a lasting impact on their lives. These stories remind us that behind every great achievement, there's often an inspiring teacher who believed in their potential. Today, we're thrilled to have our guest on our special segment, Vincent Cobb, who is the CEO of Summer House Institute, a national organization committed to inspiring, developing, and growing the next generation of Black male educators in U.S. public schools. Mr. Cobb is responsible for working with program partners in major school districts across the country to advance racial equity, diversity in schools, and creating better access pathways for high-quality Black male leaders to stand in front of classrooms.
Hi, my name is Vincent Cobb, and I serve as the CEO of Summer House Institute. We have chapters in Philadelphia and also Houston, Texas. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about a teacher who has inspired me. The teacher who has inspired me was my 7th grade Black male social studies teacher. His name was Mr. Brian Freeland. He was an incredible teacher because he didn't just teach to the test. He didn't just teach the curriculum. He taught us about life. He taught us about the sweatshops and how to be leaders in our community and how hip hop and society and its influence on youth work and how we can make a change as change agents in our schools, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. We were wholly inspired by this man who would climb on top of a school desk, and in his hand he would have the social studies book reading out loud, and he would have this Socratic method of teaching where he would just call on us and we had to be ready to respond. He taught us how to respond with confidence and how to be able to answer questions with depth and with understanding and learning. He would push us to learn. And it was amazing because in our classroom, it was as if he took center stage and we all were just very captivated by his presence. He also made sure he spent time with us during school, even during a school lunch, or try to find some way to mentor some of us guys one-on-one, talk about our family and the legacy that we wanted to lead. And he would hold us to a higher standard, even in our other classrooms, talked about how academic success was our route and that we should know our history or we would be doomed to repeat it, in the words of Malcolm X. And He taught us about so many incredible historical figures that shaped society and shaped the legacy that we were to one day lead. And so everyone who passed through Mr. Freeland's seventh grade social studies class, you knew and had a story. Even 20 years later, we talk about him and his amazing impact. And he has been the impetus and the inspiration for my work around Summer House Institute, which is a residential program for Black male undergraduates who are interested in teaching careers. And we know that we need the importance of these role models in our schools because Black men make up just 2% of the U.S. teacher workforce. And when we think about that in a school's K through 12 career, we have the scientific data that proves that Black males are 39% more likely to aspire to go to college and to enroll in college if they had a Black male teacher in their K through 12 experience. It shows that other students, even including white students that have diverse teachers, such as Black men in their schools, it really works around anti-racism and the stereotypes that we see in the media. It forms a different relationship. And it also shows that among the demographic of teachers, Black men have a distinct and unique impact in the trajectory and the success of school communities and our students. And so we want to provide that opportunity, just like I had the opportunity to have such a significant Black male teacher in my life. We want to pay that forward by making sure that we have a program that inducts 30 to 50 Black men every summer into careers of teaching so that we can have more Mr. Freelands in classrooms all across this country. And so I carry that with me even to this day. I didn't even know that I could one day be in education. I didn't even thought about it until I took a summer job at the Lemoyne College Outward Bound program in Syracuse, New York. And I realized after that summer, the hardest summer of my life, the hardest job of my life, working with 50 Black and Latino young men on a campus for 6 weeks, it was life-changing for me. And I didn't even know the impact that I could have until these young men shared with me their impact stories of having me as their counselor for that summer. And so it was on that day that I realized that the influence and impact that Mr. Freeland had on me had now come full circle. And I had a job to do, and I had to do the due diligence to making sure that my representation and my example could impact the trajectory of other young Black boys and girls and white students and students of color across the spectrum, knowing that our schools should match the demographic of students that we aim to serve. It is of cultural significance. It is of understanding and a knowing that curbs stereotypes and the suspension rates and mislabeling into other classrooms, and that really offsets some of the cyclical issues that we see in these communities and underserved communities across the nation. And so a teacher, an excellent teacher, can make a difference, but a Black male teacher can make even more of a difference when they are highly skilled, ready and prepared to engage with students of our time today. And so I am proud of the work that we're doing at Summer House Institute. I am proud of the legacy that Mr. Freeland has left with me, and now I'm proud to carry that on through the students and the Black male undergraduates that come to our program who are standing up today and saying, I want to teach, I want to go to ground zero and be able to develop and become a future maker of the students that we will see be the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you for this time. I appreciate you listening to my story of the teacher who inspired me.
We are so grateful to be able to share that wonderful audio for our Teachers Who Inspired segment. Throughout the rest of the episode, we'll share Misty Burgess' story and the amazing impact she has on her students. To start us off, you'll hear from Misty, who shares what led her to teaching as she found her passion for teaching business classes.
So I actually have a master's degree in business, and I wasn't going to go into teaching. I was going to get a job out in the industry. And then I had a phone call that there was a need for me to come in and teach as a long-term sub. And so now 18 years later, I'm still here. and I'm still teaching. So I went back and got my education license and everything. So I was able to keep teaching and still haven't quit yet. So
To hear more about Mrs. Burgess's positive impact on her students, we spoke with Zandrea, who reflects on what led her to nominate Mrs. Burgess. She shares about how Mrs. Burgess creates an environment where students feel supported in their success.
So I mainly nominated her because I have her 3 times a day, so I'm with her a lot. And I just think that she truly does care about her students and she wants to see us succeed. And like in my third period, we have a small class and she said like we're her family. And she really just like watches out for us to make sure we're on top of our grades and everything. And like we need help with college, like we don't know the answer, like she's the person I would go to.
When we spoke with Mrs. Burgess's principal, he mentioned that she is very involved in the school community and was recently named 2025 Future Business Leaders of America State Advisor of the Year. In addition to Future Business Leaders of America, Mrs. Burgess provides a space for purpose, which is the school's student-led fellowship. Through her dedication to these programs, Mrs. Burgess encourages not only the academic growth of her students, but also their personal and professional development.
So with the FBLA, I was actually a member of FBLA when I was here. I actually went to school at Greenbrier, graduated, went to college, and then I'm back here teaching. So I was actually a part of FBLA during my high school years, and then it went on into college years at UCA. I was the president at UCA one year for what was called PBL, which is the collegiate level of FBLA. And then I have a love for my church and a love for my students. So when they said that Purpose needed someone just to step in and give them a space to, meet and things like that, I felt like that was where I should be. I should be that place to open the door and let them have their fellowship time at school if they were going to let us do that throughout the week. So I just opened my classroom during my prep period one day a week, and they are able to meet and have their fellowship time.
Zandrea's nomination highlighted how Mrs. Burgess sets her students up for success beyond high school, equipping them with the tools they need to make informed personal and financial decisions. For Zandrea, Mrs. Burgess has supported her with making informed decisions and saving for college.
I think especially with finance, like right now we're learning about insurance, we've learned about loans, that's stuff that I didn't know about going into it. And as a high school student, I have a part-time job and I like to spend my money. And so me and Miss Burgess have been working on like not spending it and trying to save, especially for college. And I think a lot of kids don't know too much about it. It's just not something that's taught. And so I think that that really helped me feel prepared for my future.
In our conversation with Mrs. Burgess, she spoke about her passion for ensuring her students are exposed to real-world examples and experts who can support them in preparing for their future. Through utilizing practical applications in the classroom, her goal is to bridge the gap between academics and the workplace, to equip students with the knowledge and confidence needed to pursue new opportunities.
So I think the best way to learn is if you have an understanding about what other people have gone through. So a lot of times when I'm teaching these things, which the state of Arkansas has been really good at our financial literacy piece, they now have it mandated that all high school seniors to graduate, they have to have at least a semester of finance of some sort. So I actually teach a year-long class on it, but they can't understand something if they haven't done it, which that means that if I have done it, then that's the best way to teach them. So I usually teach them through some of the things that I've gone through, or I have business people from the community come in and tell them, this is how you do this, or these are the types of insurance you're going to need for when you get on your own. I've also had them go through and fill out all the tax forms that they should be filling out for starting new jobs. That way, when they get to that job, they're not having to ask those questions because, you feel really out of place when you're having to ask your new employer what you're supposed to fill out. And I mean, I understand some parents do teach this, but there's a lot that don't. So any way that I can fill in the gaps of things that some of these kids are missing is the best way to get through to them and make sure that they're an employable individual in the future.
As Mrs. Burgess mentioned, she commonly brings in community professionals relevant to each section of the class. Through hearing from these experts, students learn from different perspectives, are exposed to career opportunities, and learn more about themselves in the process. Having the opportunity to connect with local professionals offers students an invaluable way to connect with their community.
So I teach Accounting 1, Accounting 2, banking, and financial planning. So for my banking classes, I bring in different people from local banks to talk about the different sections of that class. So I'll bring in a teller to teach them how to count the drawer down, or I'll bring in the marketing director. He came in to tell them how, they actually market to people. I brought in their CEO from one bank that told them about how they reach out and give back to the community and why that's important. Insurance, they'll have a guest speaker from one of our insurance agencies close by. I bring in our payroll clerk for Accounting 1 because we just started payroll. So she'll come in the next week. We did fixed assets just a couple weeks ago in Accounting 2. So I brought in our accountant from our admin building to tell them kind of how the school deals with fixed assets and things like that. So I just tried to reach out to the community in our chamber and try to see who wants to come in and speak to me. I just had an email this morning that there's a CPA in town and she wants to come in and talk to my Accounting 2 kids to tell them about, how she got to where she is. So now I've got to contact her and see if I can get her in this next week. So I really feel like the more you can get the community involved, the more the community will give back to the school as well. And I mean, I have kids that are employed now just because I had the bank come in and then the bank will email and say, hey, I've got these positions open. Do you have any kids in the banking class? I just had one hired this year at the beginning of the year, and she's going to be working for them throughout the rest of her high school career. I've got one girl, I guess she graduated 2 years ago, and she started working at the bank, and she's still at the bank, and she actually built her first house the year after she graduated high school because she had been saving her money. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that the kids can learn from me all day long, but the experts are out in the community. And once you get them in here and telling the kids what they can do, it's a whole different ballgame.
Building on Mrs. Burgess's dedication to exposing students to industry experts, Zandrea shares about how she has learned from these classroom guest speakers. For her, there was one speaker who made a lasting impression and prompted her to rethink her perspective on her future goals.
I would say John, how do you say his last name?
Patron.
He came in closer to the beginning of the year, and he really made me honestly rethink my whole entire future I had planned. He basically went around, asked us like what we thought we were gonna want to do, and I told him that I wanted to go to be a nurse, and he looked at me and he laughed and he said, "You're gonna end up in the bank." And I just thought that was so funny, and he really stood out to me because he showed us the benefits of working in the bank, and especially through college, those benefits of you can study, you have time to be able to do your work when you're not telling, or you do video telling, and the money in that too as well, and that can help you pay off some of your college debts, all the things, and I think he just really stood out to me.
Pre-professional classes like Mrs. Burgess's help prepare students for the future, provide clarity on career opportunities, and teach them critical everyday skills. She not only teaches on the mechanics of finance, but also on the ethics and responsibility that come with managing financial resources. Beyond finance, Mrs. Burgess also teaches students how to be respectful community members and ensures that they are employable in whatever field they go into.
So with my classes, my accounting 1 and 2, it usually gets them introduced into the principles 1 and 2 classes at the college level. I've had kids email, text, call me, and ask for help sometimes. But then there's also those kids that they're like, hey, by the way, I changed my major and now I'm going into accounting. And then I got a phone call just the other day that I now have kids in CPA positions. And so that's really where I guess I kind of lie with all of the reasons why behind what I do. Um, I had one a couple years ago. I told you about her. She has her own house. She's working still at the bank. She's going to college and doing all those things. Got one currently. She's only a junior in high school, and she'll be at the bank through her senior year for sure. And then usually if they stay within the Conway, Greenbrier areas, they can stay with the bank and keep going, as long as they want to. I've had a couple kids that I've taught them enough of finance that they text me and said, hey, I bought my first truck. And I'm like, well, what kind of job do you have? I'm in the oil field. But I mean, they're making more money than I am. But now they're learning how to actually spend that money and use it wisely. These are kids that were going to drop out of school, you know. So I guess it's just if I can prepare them in any way to be not just in a professional career field, but to be good community members in whatever community they're in. That's kind of where I'm trying to push them. Their ethics, their manners, make sure you say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please and thank you, those things. I mean, I know it sounds small, but the minute you can say that to a business person, that may be the difference in you getting the job in someone else. So really just making sure that they're employable is a big deal for me.
Highlighting Mrs. Burgess's impact, Zandrea's mom, Heather, expands more on the growth she's seen in her daughter. Through building Zandrea's confidence, nurturing her love for learning, and encouraging her to join future business leaders of America, Mrs. Burgess has been a transformative source of support.
Misty's teaching has had a lasting impact on Zandrea beyond the classroom by boosting her confidence, improving her problem solving and communication skills, and sparking a love for learning. With Misty's support, Zandrea has also developed greater resilience, applying these lessons in all areas of her life. What stood out most was how Misty saw Zandrea's potential and encouraged her to join FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. It wasn't just about academics. Misty helped Zandrea grow as a leader and set her up for real world opportunities. That kind of support made a huge impact.
In her nomination, Zandrea reflected on Mrs. Burgess's unwavering commitment to her students and the supportive classroom environment she cultivates. Mrs. Burgess empowers her students to be the best version of themselves by encouraging curiosity, confidence, and resilience. Her approach helps students step outside of their comfort zone, inside and outside of the classroom.
So I know Miss Burgess, she always messes around with us, and she when we have speakers come in, she's like, I'm gonna make y'all write down questions and so that y'all actually pay attention and you actually listen. And I don't think she knows this, but it actually helps me she as all of us ask one question. And I think that's really important because some people are too scared to ask questions even if they want to know the answer. And so I think that's one way that she has made me the best version of myself. She's made me kind of step outside of my comfort zone instead of just sitting in the back of the classroom and listening. If I actually have a question, I feel comfortable enough to ask it. And she always wants me to try my best. She's never just let me say, okay, you can just take this grade. whatever, it's fine, just take the fail. Like, that's not what she does. She's gonna have you pull you out of the class, say, okay, you need to sit down, you need to do this assignment because I want you to have good grades. I want you to succeed. And so I just feel like she makes me feel like I succeed no matter what I do, even if I'm trying my best and it's my best, but I don't get the best grade, like it's okay. And I'm FBLA as well. And so she's also helped me with that too, is being able to communicate with people because that's in my FBLA event I present, and that has helped me with my public speaking a lot as well. And she's always been able to help me with that too.
Expanding on the positive environment she fosters, Mrs. Burgess shares how she supports her students in all aspects of their lives. Whether it's in response to academic or personal questions, she's committed to ensuring her students have access to the resources they need. She encourages them to always ask questions, and if she doesn't have the answers, she will find someone who does. Beyond the classroom, she actively ensures students have different career opportunities through supporting them with internships and job shadowing opportunities.
No question's a dumb question. Everybody has a question, and I may know the answer and I may not, but I will find an answer one way or another. So they ask questions all the time. There's a lot of times that if they don't know something, I just had it a few minutes ago. One kid didn't know how to find something in geometry. Well, it's been a long time since I've been in geometry, but I pulled another kid over and that kid was able to teach him how to do it within a matter of minutes. So just making sure that they have the right resources. I try to make it an environment where it does feel like family. You can ask me questions. It can be questions about content, or it can be questions about what you're going to be when you grow up. Me and Zandrea have had that conversation multiple times. I also try to make sure that they have different career opportunities. If there is an internship, why don't we go for this internship? Zandrea and them had a job shadow day not too long ago, and she's wanting to be a nurse. She's like, well, I don't know what I can do because, hospitals and different places won't let the kids in because of HIPAA. Well, I had a friend that she runs her own, it's like a health and wellness type of place, I guess. They do the energy IVs, the infusions and stuff like that. So I called her and I said, hey, I've got a kid that wants to be a nurse. You've been a nurse and now you're a nurse in this aspect. Would you let her job shadow you? And she went there and she learned things. So I just try to make sure that if they have any questions or they are unsure of even their future, that I can try to direct them in the right path. I pray I do every day. But, if I can't answer the question, I try to find someone that can.
Zandrea's mom, Heather, shares more about the lasting impact of Mrs. Burgess's teaching. Beyond the skills and knowledge Zandrea has learned, her daughter will continue to build on her foundation of confidence while remembering that she has someone who truly believes in her.
Zandrea will carry the confidence Miss Burgess helped her build, along with the memory of someone who truly believed in her. That kind of support stays with you, shaping how you see yourself and how you treat others for years to come.
What keeps Mrs. Burgess going are the moments when past students reconnect with her. Whether it's to celebrate an exciting achievement or ask for help, she loves hearing from graduates as it reminds her that she is making a life-lasting impact.
I really think it's when I hear back from them, when they've gotten that job, when they've called me because they needed help. It shows me that I'm not just doing it for nothing. I'm doing it for a reason. And day in and day out, is my job glamorous? No. But at the end of the day, I can always say that I've answered as many questions as I could, and that hopefully they're all better individuals for what I've given them.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us today to learn more about Misty Burgess, one of our May honorees and recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. To read more about her story, you can visit our website at honored.org or click the link in the episode description. If you have a teacher who you want to recognize and nominate for our teaching award, you can head to honored.org/nominate to recognize a teacher today. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can follow us and leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening in from. Thanks again for listening, and make sure to tune in next month to hear the incredible story of our June honoree.